Welcome to another episode of the Go With John Show. Today, we're going to be chatting with Bill Orrence. Welcome, Bill.
Well, thank you, John. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to chat with us. So, Bill, you're one of our Stanley Martin Custom Home project managers.
That's correct.
Yep. So how long have you been with the company?
About 7 years now.
Okay, that's a good while.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's good. Well, we love having you here. Yeah. So, how did you get into? Tell us about where you grew up and how did you get into the construction industry?
Well, I'm a local, born and raised up here in Rockville, and construction's always been in my blood. All the way back to where my grandmother was. She designed and built her houses when she was growing up back in the 20s and 30s. Dad always did everything at home, so I was always helping him with projects around the house, building things, and it just caught on. I just love it. I love watching building things, and it's always been that way. But I started right from when I was in college. I got a break on the summer vacation, dated a girl that mother was a real estate broker.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So she was doing condo renovations down in Alexandria.
Right.
So it was a 232 unit buildings down in Valley Park. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Mm-hmm. And so she offered me a summer job there, and it just turned into the fall and the winter, and they offered me a contract and never looked back.
So did you leave school early to do that?
I did. They offered me a bunch of money to do that and a place to stay for free. And, being young and 20 years old, who wouldn't want that?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So it turned into going into single-family homes, and I've been building single families ever since. Some townhouses every once in a while.
Right.
But now I think it's more, the top end of my career we're doing the custom homes. I kind of think that's the icing on the cake of the career, because it's always something different, and it's always something great communication with homeowners. And,
right.
You never know what you're going to build.
Right.
You guys sell some wild stuff. There is nothing you guys say no to.
Right.
Elevators, steam showers. You
right.
never know.
Photovoltaic strips under. Yeah. I mean, it's. If people want it, we want to build it, and that makes it fun for you too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah.
Every house is different, and every homeowner is different, and their personalities.
Right.
Everybody's different, and we got a lot more interaction you do if you did with a production builder. I would see you maybe at the beginning. Maybe for drywall, definitely at the end, 3 times. Here, I meet with them every week.
Right. So you have worked for production builders in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let's just talk a little bit about that, because I think there are plenty of build-on-your-lot builders in our area that treat their buyers like production buyers, right? So some of them even have on their website, they say, we give you 4 meetings during construction. Well, 1 meeting is a pre-construction meeting. 1 meeting is a new home orientation. So that leaves you 2 meetings during the entire build, which is probably an electrical walk and a pre-drywall walk, if I had to guess. Would that make sense?
That's correct.
Yeah. So we actually sat down with the PMs, with a couple PMs and Mike and Pat, and we talked about kind of the importance of weekly meetings. But you're pretty much meeting with the buyers every week throughout construction.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to know them really well.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm an open book.
Right.
I'll give you as much of that information on that house as you want. If you want to come do a frame checks with me, absolutely, I'll do it with you. Because the more you know about how that house is built, the more comfortable you are with it.
Right, and the more you love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing. And I'll even come in on a Saturday if it helps you out, if you want to be a part of it. We just did a house recently, not too far from here, and we did a frame check on a Saturday, and they had a great time.
Yeah.
And you get so much more knowledge of how everything is put together.
Right.
And it makes you feel really good about the house.
Yep. It's always been interesting to me how well all of our Stanley Martin custom home project managers communicate with the homeowner, because generally your project manager out there, your run-of-the-mill project manager, is really good at communicating with the subcontractors, right? It takes a special personality to manage a construction project, which I don't have. I've tried it, but it is. You got to know how to work with the trades, right?
Sure, absolutely.
And it's a totally different personality type that can really communicate well with the homeowners. So tell us, Bill, what is your kind of secret to being able to really manage the trades very well, and then you have these incredibly great relationships with our buyers?
Yeah, so it's kind of two different things. When you're a production builder, actually some of the guys are scared of homeowners, and they just want to strictly deal with the subcontractors because they don't want to have any kind of animosity, or they don't want the homeowners telling them what to do. They can't change things, where we can always constantly change things in our houses.
If you're doing a custom.
If you're doing a custom.
Exactly.
And it's a little bit different in production. Some of the production guys are more, let me see, they have a computer schedule in front of them.
Right.
And they push a button.
Right.
And the computer automatically spits out what's going to happen for the rest of the day, for the week, for the month. They don't quite realize different things you can do during the construction process. A custom home builder is a little bit differently.
Right.
We do have the computer systems, don't get me wrong, but we're able to deviate from that schedule in case we run into an obstacle. And in today's market with COVID and what we're going through is extremely important.
Right.
Because if I get a back order of something, or windows or doors, if that doesn't fall into that schedule complete, you need to know where to go, how to subvent that and go to the next steps.
Right.
But it's really nice working with the homeowners. You can let them know what's going on, what they're anticipating. Like I think they've said in the past, I think Brian went over this with you on a previous episode, that we give them a synopsis of what's going on this week and what's going to happen the next week.
Yes.
And if there's any foreseeable thing coming up in the future with back order, we know to let them know ahead of time in case we want to change to a different product line that we can get in sooner.
Right. So I think really the big one of the big keys to your success is, I think really that you just genuinely enjoy working with the homeowner and making their dream become a reality.
Yeah, for me, this has always been a dream job. I can't believe I get paid to do this. Yeah. I absolutely love it. I love construction. Yeah. And people always say, well, why don't you just work your way up the ladder or go, I've had offers for being building inspectors from the counties. And I said, no, I really like what I do now.
Yep.
And I always have, and I'll do it as long as I possibly can.
Yes,
Confucius, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, Confucius said, "Find something you love to do, and you never work another day in your life."
Well, that's correct. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely love it, and I think it shows. I think it shows in the work, and it shows with the homeowners. Mm-hmm. I really like this new aspect now going to customs, is having that interaction with the homeowners.
Right.
And it is kind of sad toward the end where you don't get to see them every week. I've had homeowners cry when we, say farewell at the end of the project. It's kind of hard to cut those apron strings sometimes. Yeah. But I think one of the best compliments I had from one of the homeowners when we finished it, we were looking out the window and said, well, this is it. We're done. No more weekly meetings, nothing else. He says, Bill, I wish I could hit the lottery. We could build another one right across the street. I said, I really like that. When you hit it, let me know. Yeah, let's do it.
That's awesome.
But I have built multiple homes for customers, our customers.
Right.
So it is fun.
It is amazing how many people do build a home with us, and then they come back a few years later and build another one.
Oh, yeah.
It is amazing. There's a lot of repeat business in our company.
It is. Yeah. It's because it's so efficient and it works so well.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So what are some of the your favorite things to do in the project? I know you enjoy the weekly meetings with the customers, but what else is there that kind of like what gets you out of bed every day? What are you excited about when you are coming into the office? Give us some examples.
Well, I really like just to make sure one of the subcontractors shows up and does what they're going to do for the day and make sure it's done correctly. Mm-hmm. But when it's interacting with the homeowners, I just love teaching them.
Right.
I love teaching them and showing them how the system works, how the foundation drain tile system works.
Yeah.
What we're looking for is on the framing and how all the components of the house come together and it all makes sense.
Right.
And the homeowners just love it. I'll teach you as much as you want to know about the house.
Right.
But yeah, it just I just love it.
Are there any? So you talked about steam showers and some of the wild things that
elevators,
the elevators. Are there certain elements that you enjoy working with more than others?
No, the ones that get me is the surprise ones that I've never heard of before. I don't know if you remember, we did a house over in Alexandria, and a guy came up with a soundproofing method I'd never heard of before. Stuff called green glue. So it's a type of like caulking materials, this really chartreuse green that we applied between the floors, the levels of plywood on the floor.
Right.
And it would convert sound energy into heat energy, and it become completely soundproof without insulation.
So did they do 2 layers of
plywood?
2 layers.
So we did 2 layers of plywood on the floor.
Right.
And we did 2 layers of drywall back to back on the walls.
Right.
And you could stand on one side and holler, and you couldn't hear it on the other.
It's amazing.
How did they invent that stuff?
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I've never heard
That's
of it before.
similar to, so the RC channel is kind of the same theory, but it probably didn't work. So have you worked with RC channel? So channel, describe to us what is RC channel for the folks listening.
It's just a wider channel that you separate, give the drywall some separation in
from the stud.
From the stud.
Right.
And then we can insulate between that. We did that over at a house that had an Amtrak train right behind it. Or Metro train, I guess it was. And that really worked too.
Yeah.
So either one. But the green glue was interesting. I just never heard of green glue before, but it's fascinating.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what else you got?
Some of the other things that you could put in would be, I think I got a house coming up with the accordion doors that are coming out. We don't normally
put those. You mean like the multi-panel sliders? Those are getting really popular.
Floating staircases.
Yeah.
I think we got pivotal front doors coming in.
Right.
And that's just, you don't ever see that in production.
Yeah.
But you see it in customs.
Yeah. So one of the neat things, about our program, I'll just say for the folks listening, is if you're going the custom route with us, you can do whatever you want to do. If you can think it, we have probably already done it. And we love to have new challenges and work new things into our builds. We have a lot of fun with that.
Correct. And having that information and going into the planning design process is a whole lot easier than don't try and change it horses in the middle of the stream.
Right.
Gather all your thoughts together and present them to us.
Right.
And we'll design it. We'll price it out for you, and we'll put it in the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We are chatting with Bill Orrence, project manager with Stanley Martin Custom Homes. Bill, we'll be right back.
All right.
A lot of folks think that building a custom home is a complicated and arduous process. It doesn't have to be. At Stanley Martin Custom Homes, we have the process down to a science. We will bring you through the buying, design, and building phase one step at a time. Head on over to webuildonyourlot.com and check us out. Reach out to us if you want to get started on the path to your very own Stanley Martin Custom Home. All right, so we are back with Bill Orrence of Stanley Martin Custom Homes. He's a project manager with the company. So welcome back, Bill.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about, let's talk a little bit about, you love coming to work every day. You love working with your buyers. How many homes at a time are you typically managing?
Well, it's usually 2 to 3 houses. Sometimes it'll go up to 4, but it balances out to about 3.
Right, and that's really probably about your limit because you got to have time not only to manage the subcontractors, but you got to have time for the weekly meetings and all the customer interactions that you love to have.
Correct. And some of these houses may be 20 or 30 minutes apart from each other.
Exactly. So you got to have drive time.
Yeah.
So now, do you work mostly? I know you're from Rockville, but what do you mainly work in Maryland, or what's your territory?
I do all the Montgomery County houses, but I've also built quite a few houses in Alexandria, Arlington, Fairfax County. So
do you have a favorite jurisdiction to work in? I know we've talked about this before, that all jurisdictions are different and they all have their own nuances, but are there some that you just really particularly enjoy?
I really like the Montgomery County houses, but for personal reasons, I just don't like crossing the bridge every day. But they're very similar to Fairfax County. And different counties have different styles.
Right.
Arlington is very focused on their planters and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff on the outside, and
Right.
how they put your pavers in and make sure that's done correctly. So they're very concerned about the bay.
Yeah.
But the rest of the inspections universally are basically the same. We all use the same IRC code books. And,
Right. What does IRC stand for?
International Residential Code.
Okay, so they're all using that same standard.
Correct.
Okay, that's good.
Correct.
So really, it's the same building practices in every jurisdiction. It's just how do they administer it and what are the nuances with their system.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell us about some of your favorite details. So we during the break we were talking about a wine room that we did in Alexandria, and I remember that. We actually have pictures on our website on it. But tell us about that wine room.
Yeah, so that one wine room is not only, it was just a gorgeous room in itself with the tile work and the imported tile that we used, but it's also conditioned. So it had its own air conditioning unit that came in just for that wine room on a digital thermostat. And this was a good sized room. It was probably 8 by 8. It was almost could have been another bedroom down there. But that was just fascinating, just the way that whole system came together.
Yeah.
But there's always something. I had an engineer that he actually put in a 4-inch vent from the basement to the second floor and installed a fan motor so that he would take the cool air from the basement and run it up into the second floor during the summertime and reverse the process in the wintertime.
I've always wanted to do that. Somebody actually did that.
He
That's
actually
great.
did that, and it worked great.
Yeah.
And it was a quiet motor. You didn't hear it running, but it just
How many
helped balance the
CFMs? Do you
air.
remember what the CFM was?
I don't know. It was probably 100 CFMs, I would say.
So it was just like almost like a bathroom fan.
Yes, correct.
Wow.
Correct. But he had the fan located in the storage room down below, so it was away from anybody to hear it upstairs where the bedrooms are. You just had, cool air coming in from the basement all the time.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
And it wasn't unsightly. It was just a 4-inch round plate sitting on top in the wall.
Right. Very cool. So what other kind of things have you done that you found particularly interesting?
It's not only stuff on the inside; it's stuff on the outside of the houses. Put in koi ponds and just fancy decks with grills. Fire
Outdoor
pits
kitchens,
and everything you can think of.
Yeah. So how many folks? Because we manage the site work. As part of the build, we do charge a fee for it, I will just say. But for 99% of our buyers, they see the value in having us manage the site work. So you do all kinds. So when we manage the site work, whether you're putting in a pool or a koi pond or whatever, an outdoor kitchen, the management fee stays the same. So the more you actually do on the outside, the better value the customer's getting out of that management fee because we do it all as a direct pass through. So
correct.
So what other kind of outdoor things have folks added in?
So I built a house one time for a guy that ran an auto mechanic shop.
Right.
And we had a really tall garage's ceiling height. So what we did is we put in a lift for his cars. So he could actually elevate his car. Instead of being a 2-car garage, it was a 4-car garage.
Right.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But it went in without a hitch, and it was just fascinating stuff.
Yeah, those are portable too, aren't they?
Yeah,
they just
they
come in
are.
and they set them up on the ground. You don't even have to bolt them to the concrete.
The only thing we did, we bulked up a little bit on the slab before we poured it to make sure it had enough thickness in there for the double car.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, perfect. That's great. That's great stuff. I'd love to have a lift in my garage one day. Don't know if I'll ever get there, but they are cool. So Bill, let's talk about talk a little bit in closing as we kind of wrap up our conversation today. Talk a little bit about Stanley Martin Custom Homes and our culture, and what do you like about working here versus maybe some of the experiences you've had. I don't want to say anything negative about any other builder, but maybe draw some compare and contrast what your experiences are in the construction world in general, and what do you love about Stanley Martin Custom Homes?
I love it because of the size of the company is a big difference. We have a tight-knit group of people, very talented people. Michael spent a lot of time gathering us all together.
Right.
We have a ton of experience out in the field. when you work with a production builder, I work with several top builders in the country, and when I'm building for them, procedure is you can build 24 houses at a time by using our computer system. Well, yeah, you can punch a computer all day, but you're not going to spend your time inside your houses and seeing exactly what you're doing.
Right.
So you lose that quality. And when I was with that national builder, I actually did a lot of teaching as well. So I would teach people how to become project managers. I had classes and brought all different bunch of candidates in that maybe have framing experience or electrical experience, and I'd teach them how to build a house.
Right.
But what they really want to do is be able to teach somebody straight out of college that had no building experience whatsoever and teach them how to use a keyboard to schedule their house out.
Right.
But when it comes down to meeting with a client and you're looking at your foundation wall and they see a line diagonally going across and they ask you, what is that line? This person straight out of college, he's not going to know what that is.
Right.
It's a pour line, not a cold joint.
Right.
And you need to have that ability to be able to express to our people that we know what we're doing.
Right.
We know exactly what everything is.
Yeah.
And it makes a big factor because you need to know what you're doing when you're building a custom home. You need to know if they ask you a question, if they want to add a sliding glass door here, that, no, well, we can, but we'll have to change the header height, or can we expand a bedroom over here, and we can't do that because that's a bearing wall.
Right.
So you need to be able to have the ability to answer those tough questions.
Right. I think all of our project managers are
Every one of them
is highly experienced.
Fantastic.
It's unbelievable.
It is. Some of the guys that we work with, I've worked with them for over 25 years.
Right.
In different places, but we're all the same group.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. So what about what is it about the Stanley Martin Custom Home culture that you like?
I just like that everybody's on a first name basis.
Right.
And when you're a national builder, you're a number.
Right.
You're not a name.
Right.
Yeah, and I can call them out anytime. I still talk to the guys that I work with all the time, and we have lunch together. We group up. Hey, we don't do that with a national builder. That's something a little bit different.
Yeah, that's great.
But,
that's great. Well, fantastic. So, Bill, listen, we really appreciate you coming in and chatting with us today. You've got skills. I mean, we appreciate the way you enjoy communicating with our customers, and it's great to have you on board. And we appreciate you sharing some stories with us today.
Thanks, John. It was a pleasure to be here, and it is truly a pleasure building the custom homes and making sure that the customers enjoy the experience. That's
and Michael always says anybody can build a home. The hard part is building a home with quality while providing a great experience for our buyers. That's the hard part.
Well said.
Yeah, well, it's Michael's words, not mine. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. Bill, thanks again for coming in. This concludes another episode of the Go With John show. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, John.